It's Tuesday, May 7th, 2013. I'm Alex Jones. Get ready for another original edition of Infowars Nightly News. Straight ahead.
Tonight, danger. Google tells internet users that the Drudge Report and Infowars.com websites contain malicious software. I don't think so. Plus, more information has emerged about Google's relationship with the government and spook agencies, as a group calls for hearings into Google's ties to the CIA and NSA. And Professor Griff says Obama is a mass media deception. The Infowars exclusive interview premieres tonight on the Infowars Nightly News.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and I want to thank again all the subscribers and viewers that make Infowars Nightly News possible via prisonplanet.tv as we fight the globalist plan to construct a prison planet on the ashes of our once free republic and world. Again, thank you for joining us. After the extensive news and analysis segment tonight, we're going to premiere here a hour-plus long interview with Professor Griff, the information officer of Public Enemy that just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What we tend to do is when I'm making a new film or making an Obama Deception Part 2, is we go and do two-hour-long interviews, and then like 5 minutes of what Griff talks about will probably end up in the film or less. But we like to then air the full, basically unedited interview here for you tonight. And we've got some more of these big interviews with not just Professor Griff, but other equally informative and interesting people. And this is in high def, and this is powerful. And this will reach out to a lot of people, and he lays it all out. He basically declares war on the Illuminati and calls for humanity to come together against this dehumanizing tyranny. So that is coming up tonight, and it is powerful. In fact, I always underpromise and overdeliver, which isn't good in media. We're constantly covering bombshell breaking stuff, and we don't even really build it up. It's like, oh, yeah, we went to California 2 weeks ago, got this interview, John Bound and Rob Jacobson. We've got a bunch of other interviews, too, with him. Went to protests with him. It was pretty wild. But I haven't even told viewers and radio listeners this was coming up. And this has been edited since last Friday. Again, edited, cutting out people taking breaks and things like that, or phones ringing. And so just here it is tonight. So that's coming up after we cover the extensive news that we've got here for you. Now, first off, when Infowars.com and prisonplanet.com and the radio show and the films are under sustained attack, we have to cover it. It is my mission to be gonzo journalists where we write ourselves into the story. But time and time again, it just happens. And we try to hand out magazines in downtown Austin. They say, we'll arrest you if you do. You have no more First Amendment. Things like that. Now, there are many different forms of censorship going on, and Google is trying to set up a worldwide web monopoly. Even if you follow their rules, they try to block you on YouTube and other platforms if you are successfully criticizing the global corptocracy that's being set up. Well, it turns out this is the third time they've done this to drudgereport.com, and the second time we know that they've done this to us. But Chrome users, and we've confirmed it, of Google Chrome browser are being told that Drudge and Infowars have malware. Well, we scanned our systems. We do not have this. It is not going on. It is a lie. And if you scroll down in the article, we have a link to CNET News in 2010. We also scanned Drudge Report. They're not linked to this. And it turns out that Google has systems embedded in ad software on news sites that Drudge is simply linking to, and that Google is saying don't go to Drudge because of Google. You cannot make this up. It's like saying we have to give our rights up because al-Qaeda attacked us, but then the Western governments are funding al-Qaeda then and now to take over countries like Libya and Syria. It's like we have a drug war, But they've had the CIA Inspector General admit in 1997 that the CIA ships in most of the drugs and major banks launder the money. And major U.S. banks give the guns to the Mexican drug cartels. Source on that, Bloomberg. And own the aircraft that flies the cocaine and heroin in and out. But cops want to search my car at Texas checkpoints I've run into, and they ask me if I've got any drugs. No, I don't use your damn products. Okay, so this is the type of craziness that we're talking about here. And coming from Google, saying that we're involved in malware, which is basically hacking somebody's computer to either steal data or put data on there. And they say, don't go to Infowars because they may try to steal your identity, it says this, or financial loss or permanent file deletion. I mean, I'm really thinking about suing Google, and I'm not a litigious person because it's a big hassle, but I mean, something's got to give. We're not doing this. We're on record not doing this. And this is the third time they've done it to Drudge. The second time, they've had the White House come out and go, don't visit his site. They've had Congress come out, Democratic senators. He'll put stuff on your computer with no evidence. And it turned out that was a lie. They don't want you visiting our sites because we're some of the only opposition showing what they're doing. I reported several years ago that it was in the General Motors government bailout plan to give $21 billion of taxpayer money to move General Motors to Brazil, China, and Eastern Europe. Volt, Cadillac, you name it. It's just now in the Wall Street Journal today. We're going to cover that. Guess who linked to our article about that several years ago? Drudge. That's why they don't like us. Hey, look, this White House plan with General Motors says they have to agree to ship their main factories overseas. We paid with taxpayer money to ship our factories. Just like we're paying with taxpayer money to force the shutdown of coal power plants in this country. This is the designed shutdown. How do they conquer America? They do this, and Drudge covers that. And look, I don't get up here every day and talk about Drudge every day. It's just our destinies are more and more entwined because there's nobody else. WorldNet Daily, Newsmax, there's not many others that are willing to go toe-to-toe. And the truth is the globalists are such criminal liars, if you just challenge them, if you stand up to them, it's the mouse that roared. But so many times in history, people give into the uniforms, they give into the fake authority, they give into the government arrogance and bravada, the chutzpah, and nightmares happen. Free people are uppity. Free people are jealous of their liberty. Free people are aggressive. Slaves submit. And if you're slaves, you're not free. And you're like, that's really simple. We know that. Really? Do the American people know that? So I thought here today we would go over some of the mainstream news reporting on Google because they're trying to say, don't go to this site. They're associated with some URL that we're not. And then it turns out that URL is associated with Google. They're framing us for what they do. I thought I would go over some of these articles. Here they are. Drudge Report accused of serving malware again, CNET News. And it goes on to report and admit, and it shows the screenshot. Attention, danger, don't go there. Infowars.com too. And they have to admit in the article it's total crap. Okay, there you go. Did Google get off easy with $7 million Wi-Fi settlement? All over the world, they drive around, not just with a camera, but with systems designed to break into your computer, go past your passcode. Google, it's come out, even if you disable their cookies, they re-enable them, and they do keystroke loggers to get your passcode. That is felony hacking, breaking and entering, and they do it from France to Germany, to Russia, to the United States, and then they've got the nerve to tell people to not go to Infowars.com. That is an Imperial probe droid. Let's put that back up on screen. That's what smart meters are on your house. That is an Imperial probe droid directly out of Star Wars, and I, for one, have had enough of it, man. Where's Chewbacca when you need him? What do I have to hide? I got a lot to hide. My privacy from you criminals. I saw some statistic where 90-something% of identity theft is corporations, big corporations and government leaking data. Yeah, you read about Bank of America, 9 million Social Security numbers given out. Nobody's getting them in trouble, but they're just lying, saying, you know what, don't go to Alex's side. He'll get you. Don't use Google, use StartPage. And I'm really going to, StartPage wants to work with me. I've been too busy to even work with them in a PR campaign to help them. Get me Catherine Albert. Get me StartPage, guys. They flew here from the Netherlands to meet with me, those scientists, those tech guys. I want to just all in with StartPage. They are the best alternative engine. I have had it with Google. And it's hard not to work with them. We've had 3 different, or is it the 4th now, different companies that we get to run our ad software. That's complex stuff. They always buy it. They're buying everything up. Where it's so hard not to work with Google. You're like, well, why are you on YouTube? I was on YouTube before they bought it. They advertise it's a public commons. Like, I can come here and I can do this, and they make money off of me. I don't even monetize it because I hate them so much on our YouTube channels. And people say, well, you don't like it, leave it. They're taking the web over. It'd be like if somebody bought the county square and said, you can't get up on your soapbox. Okay, I followed their trade rules. It's false advertising what they're doing. I mean, it's criminal saying that I'm going to steal your identity when it's a damn lie, and they're the ones famous for it. Let's continue. Did Google get off easy with 7 million Wi-Fi settlement? Look at this. Let's go to another one. There's hundreds of these. Forbes, court rules NSA doesn't have to reveal its semi-secret relationship with Google. There's no semi-secret relationship. They are NSA in QTEL. We got a clip, by the way, with former CIA agent Steele coming up. Here's another one. Group calls for hearings into Google's CIA and NSA ties. Boom. Here's another one. Ex-agent CIA seed money helped launch Google. We were the first to break that in December of 2006. And that was with Robert David Steele, 20-year Marine Corps infantry and intelligence officer and former clandestine services case officer with the Central Intelligence Agency. And by the way, he got heavily threatened when he came on. He's never been on since. It's time to get him on. He was the first to talk about this. This has all been declassified now. Why? By the way, when we had him on, do you know what Google did on Infowars and Prison Planet? Do you know what happened the week after he came on? They delisted us from Google news feeds when I had him on. Folks, they aren't connected. They are the shadow government. You know what is above? The real shadow government is NASA. NASA is just the corporate shell. Over 90% of NASA is actually secret. It's Northcom, it's Space Command at Cheyenne Mountain, Mount Weather, other Site R. See, we've studied the shadow government. That's why they don't like us. This is not our government, by the way. It's here to make sure the republic ends. It's doing everything it can to shut our oil off, to shut our coal plants off, to shut our factories down. It's run by foreign banks, and they're going to shut us down just like they've done other wealthy countries. There was an old saying, rich as an Argentine. And they took that country and bankrupted it to one of the poorest in Latin America. They've done it to once wealthy countries in Europe, like Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic. They will do it to anybody. They want you poor as a tool of control. Let's go ahead and go to that clip with former CIA operative Steele.
First off, I think Google took money from the CIA when it was poor and it was starting up. And unfortunately, our system right now floods money into spying and other illegal and largely unethical activities, and it doesn't fund what I call the open source world, which is both intelligence and software. Right now, I would say it's a small but significant relationship. However, I think it's also very, very wrong of Google to have this relationship.
Well, what do you think about them censoring videos and erasing my hit counts and things like that?
I think they're not only censoring videos, they're censoring press releases. I think that I've seen some press releases that are very critical of Dick Cheney and others that somehow don't make it to Google News, even though they're released by PR Newswire.
We're exactly, which is a normal affiliate.
I think Google is long overdue for a public audit. And one of the problems with privatized power is that it's not subject to public audit. I believe that there is a marketplace for a handheld and a laptop that allows the end user to completely control all outgoing emissions. And I believe there's a desperate need for a citizen activist skunk works that can thoroughly scrub stuff. And I absolutely believe that we should put Google out of business unless they're willing to go the open source software route.
So do you think all that coverage our interview got concerning their involvement with the CIA, do you think that concerned them?
It concerned them enough to lie to the public. They denied it.
But you have sources in the CIA that are involved.
Let me say very explicitly, their contact at CIA is named Dr. Rick Steinheiser. He's in the Office of Research and Development.
Yes, these men and their hypnotized followers call this a new order. It is not new, and it is not order.
This is the reality. And they just think you're unconscious and stupid and go, oh, that guy's a kook. Oh, that guy's a liar. Oh, he's discredited. Don't listen to him. The truth is, folks, they're doing everything they can to keep you from getting to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. So email everyone you know about the sites. Tell your friends and family. Share your PrisonPlanet.tv membership with 30, 40 people. You can have 11 people with the same username passcode simultaneously logged on at any one time. And if you log in one day and can't use it, because too many people are logged on, go get another membership. Support us. We're doing something bold here, going head on against the globalist, getting past our fear, committing to liberty, and building a platform to launch other people against the globalist. We're doing big things here. And big things have small beginnings, and we've grown to something really big. We intend to get even bigger. We intend to double down. I told you a year ago we were going to go to the next level. We've done it. Now we're going to the next level after that and the next. If God be with us, who can stand against us? All right, let's shift gears. Eyewitness, the younger brother of the reported bombers, Dzhokhar, did not shoot Boston cop. And that's what eyewitnesses are reporting, dealing with friendly fire. Remember New York last year where the cop shot 7 people, and then they said a mass shooter had done it? And then it was back of the paper later that they shot the people. Same thing shooting up cars with the whole Dorner cop chase thing in Southern California. Yeah, 9 people. How many did I say? Oh, yeah, there it is. 9 people wounded by police fire in New York shooting. Let's show people that article right there. So now you've got the brother who climbs out of the boat, not bleeding, then his throat's cut out so he can't talk, and then he then is forced to confess, but we don't even know if he did that. I mean, that's the essence of a tyranny, where you just disappear, and then they say you confessed. Oh, where's Alex? Oh, he confessed. He's in a dungeon. He doesn't get counsel. Violation of the 7th Amendment. I mean, this is unprecedented. Or is it the 6th Amendment? What's the one on counsel? It's the 6th Amendment. Look up right of counsel and right of due process. I think it's 6th Amendment. This is teleprompter free, folks, by the way. This is me up here, going over the research. And last week, the news showed live feeds. That video has been dug up where they're going, don't shoot, don't shoot. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. But they had orders to take them out. Yeah, it's the 6th Amendment right to counsel. And the 5th Amendment and so many others. It's like, oh, he's drugged up, his throat's cut out, never mind. And they're like, why did they just kill him? Because he was in the boat, they shot it up, a hole every inch. Then the news feed got a camera from across the street. The cops on the scanner went, oh no, abort, abort. They've got a camera on it. So then he climbs out, they can't believe he's still alive, so they cut his throat out. You're not going to be talking, bud. I mean, that is the incredible nature of this, and it just continues to pile up. Continuing, a report out of the Washington Times, legalizing illegal immigrants will cost $6.3 trillion in all the new welfare and everything else, which, again, is designed to just further bankrupt this country. Now let's go to this NRA news report breaking down what's really causing the violence in Mexico. Fast and furious, and the open border policy of the globalists who want to erase the national sovereignty of our formerly great republic. Here's that report.
This plague is spreading everywhere.
People are assassinated, placed in trunks, left with banners indicating that this is what happens to individuals who are seeking to stop the cartels.
My wife comes home from the grocery store and a woman's head is in the front yard. Is this America or is this Iraq?
The worst of their society coming here to America to prey upon our innocent citizens. And this isn't a problem.
The federal government has abandoned us.
We've been driving down this border road here for about 10 miles. Have you seen a Border Patrol agent yet?
I know that border, I think, as well as anyone.
We turn on the TV and Janet Napolitano says
it is as secure now as it has ever been.
These guys ought to be criminally tried for what they're doing in this nation.
It's a deadly turf war. Rival Mexican drug cartels battling for control of smuggling routes, power, and money. But still, President Obama goes to Mexico, apologizing for our firearm freedoms.
This war is being waged with guns purchased not here, but in the United States, many from gun shops that line our shared border.
We don't care about your laws here. We can get weapons anywhere. We get weapons from Honduras and El Salvador.
Majority of the weapons are not coming from the U.S. 3/4 of the weapons that the cartel gets is supplied by the military.
And that's just some excerpts from those NRA reports. The full reports are up at Infowars.com. Now, we have confirmed via the local newspaper what we first broke about a month ago, and that was confirmed by American Free Press, and then now by the police. The Watford Observer is reporting that's a suburb, quasi-rural suburb in northwest London, or northwest of London. Police confirmed Bilderberg 2013 to take place in Watford, UK. Authorities will facilitate peaceful protest. Well, that's good news, because that's what we're planning, and I have already booked passage on a 777 over there, and so we will see what happens. But regardless, Paul Watson and our other UK reporters will also be on site for 2013 coverage of Bilderberg. Why is it important? Because we're covering the real shadow government. We're covering the Logan Act being violated. We're covering these globalists that literally feed at the trough of government bailouts and too big to fail and insider deals. We are exposing what they're up to. I mean, just 2 years ago in Switzerland, they had Zuckerberg and the head of Google, Schmidt, and others, and we said, watch, this is about them getting political cover from European and U.S. elites to be able to carry out a criminal pump and dump with Facebook. And the stock lost half its value as we predicted. But after all, Zuckerberg says you're a bunch of dumb effers. That's how arrogant these would-be technocrats are. And then, of course, last year we covered it in Virginia and got a lot of key intel. And now with Jim Tucker passing a few weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago, it's key that I be there. So I will be there unless England blocks me from entering the country, as more and more authoritarian nations do. They try to block me getting into Canada, but it became such a media frenzy that they allowed me in after 15 hours of interrogation. So we'll watch and see what happens with that. Now let's get into some deep news and analysis here in the big stack of news before we go to break and come back with Professor Griff here on Infowars Nightly News, all teleprompter free. Special ops halted from responding to Benghazi attacks, U.S. diplomat says. And now the White House is trying to start demonizing these diplomats. I don't need them to tell me what happened. I don't need a congressional whitewash hearing where they claim there was systematic failure. There wasn't failure. There was a stand-down ordered for 8 hours while 2 Predator drones were in the sky and while a C-130 was orbiting right off the coast of Libya 20, 30 minutes away. That has all come out. Of course the White House knew. Of course they wanted that ambassador and those people dead so that when al-Qaeda, who was the security force in Benghazi, that was the security force for them, they used their own people to kill them. Our government runs al-Qaeda. The usurpers of our country run al-Qaeda. And so, of course, they killed them so that when al-Qaeda starts shooting jet airliners down with 10,000 heat-seeking missiles they got in Benghazi, that's on record. They've been showing them off. They've been using them in Syria. So that when they do that, they can say, oh, we don't know how they got them. This is full spectrum dominance where they create the terrorist, aid the terrorist, so they can then take our liberties and make trillions in no-bid weapons contracts. Because America has been hijacked by corporate, special, anti-free market groups who can't believe how much they've gotten away with. And they don't want us to ever get our country back. They want to successfully gut it, make us poor, get us under their political control. But this is really bubbling over. We'll be covering it on the radio and TV tomorrow after the hearings that start in Congress. But special ops halted from responding to Benghazi attacks. And we had Colonel Schaefer on a week after it happened saying that. I mean, this has all come out. I want to get Colonel Schaefer, by the way, back on. Do whatever it takes. Call him, email him. You guys go after him. Get him on. White House refuses to address questions on Benghazi stand down. Infowars.com. We break it down right there. Where is Infowars tooting our horn that we broke all this the week after it happened? We should go back to our articles and say, see, we told you, and have flashbacks. Not because I even want credit. I want people to know we know what we're talking about, okay? Because the media is trying to discredit us right now. Graham, I think the dam is about to break on Benghazi. You're like, ooh, he's getting to the bottom of it. Then he says it was a systematic failure across the board. A system failure. It wasn't a failure. Be like Hitler at Nuremberg if he would have lived, saying, it was a failure, I screwed up. It's like if you caught somebody robbing a bank, they're like, sorry, cops, it was a failure. It was a failure, I came in here and robbed it. State Department won't say its officials set to testify on Benghazi are credible people. White House tries to deflect criticism from Benghazi whistleblowers. So there you go. They are certainly in panic mode right now. Benghazi witness. U.S. military response could have scared off attackers, prevented mortar strike. See, government hires a bunch of shallow people so they don't figure it all out. It's like they had all these FBI guys in the news after 9/11 going, it's like Al-Qaeda had moles in the Justice Department. They were always one step ahead of us. Of course they have moles. The globalists created them. Of course they're one step ahead of you, 10 steps ahead of you. Now let's continue with the treason here. GM wins approval to build $1.3 billion Cadillac plant in China. They've already moved Volt over there. And again, this is in the Wall Street Journal. This is in Bloomberg today. This was in the agreement, what was it, 3 years ago? All we did was read the agreement. Actually, our listeners said, hey, look at this subsection of the agreement. And we covered it and said, wow, they're going to pay billions to move a plant to Brazil, billions and billions to move plants to China and Eastern Europe. I mean, my God, no wonder we're shutting down. There's no real jobs. They want you service-based, where they fully control you. They don't want America to be self-sufficient. So there's GM, a report out of Bloomberg. Here's one out of the Wall Street Journal. General Motors will build Cadillac plant in China. I mean, it's a cream puff. It's a Cadillac. We can't, to quote Tony Montana, we can't even have Cadillac made here. Now they're saying they're going to move Jeep to Italy. Because Fiat, who, by the way, is at Bilderberg, the Fiat heir, he wants it that way. And nothing against the Italians, but my God, you know, keep your Ferraris, keep your whatevers, and, you know, I'll buy your sunglasses. You got great clothes. You're great people. But, you know, again, it's about globalism. It's about shut America down. Makes me so frustrated. Continuing, Senate passes internet sales tax bill amid opposition from conservatives. Boom. That's to track and control and dominate the internet. Internet sales tax bill faces tough selling House. They always tell you that so you don't think that there's a chance it'll pass, so you don't complain. It's a standard tactic. Republicans ride on cruise control, and the Hill says they're split on whether the fact that he's being tough on tyranny, whether that's good. You mean the sold-out establishment Republicans? I mean, I got to say, Ted Cruz, who we interviewed when he was running, who I was standoffish from just because I don't know him, has really turned out to even be more liberty-based than even somebody like Rand Paul, who I like. I mean, he's getting in there asking real questions of the Federal Reserve, real questions of Big Sis, and they're freaking out. Here's an article with Harry Reid calls Senator Cruz a schoolyard bully. Cruz is incredibly calm, asks polite questions, and says things like, so, you just got the bill a day ago, 300-plus pages on you know, this or that to Janet Napolitano. Did you read the whole thing? She goes, yes, I did. He goes, you had a busy weekend then, didn't you? Mm-hmm. It's obvious she's a liar. Just actually doing his job. So you've got over 2 billion bullets and you're ordering more. What's going on with that? Oh, that's not credible. We're not getting any bullets. Okay. And then he just continues to bring up issues and then show them up as liars. And I like Rand Paul's filibuster. They are the model of the type of people that can lead this country out of globalist collectivization. So I got to say it. I'm very, very excited about what's happening there. Let's continue now with the demonization of the real press in closing as we then go to break and come back with the extensive interview with Professor Griff. The case against rumors of government ammo stockpiling. That is the Atlantic wire that might as well be White House run, like Media Matters. And they quote Media Matters. And they say, Alex Jones has made it up. The bullets aren't for you. And they go on to say it's not part of a secret army, as some have worried. And it links to Senator Inhofe. You know, it's funny they use that term because that's what it's known in clandestine takeovers as a secret army. A paramilitary force you grow quietly that funds itself with criminal activities. You know, the Contras using drug money, things like that. That's called a secret army. And they have a fifth branch of the military now under Northcom, 7,000 armored vehicles, anti-mine, machine guns, hand grenades, rocket launchers, spy networks, secure corps, InfraGard, clergy response teams, checkpoints. They say their main enemies, veterans, gun owners, conservatives, billions of rounds of ammo, domestic training, all of this going on. Yeah, that's just the latest purchase was 2,700. It's over 7,000 now. Video of Bradleys being deployed all over the country. Army Times admitting they're training to, quote, take on domestic groups, not Al-Qaeda. All of this is going on. Obama's setting up a domestic security force, and they've gone from saying there are no bullets to saying, you know what, we are buying them, but it's a normal amount. And it turns out it's 10 to 11 to 12 times any previous purchase in any previous year, depending on how you crunch the numbers. And enough now to fight a 35-year war. Now, oh, look at those for America. A 35-year war in Iraq at the numbers they were using. And they're cornering the market. They've now sent out a prospectus, and this has gotten no coverage. They've now sent out a prospectus that we broke last week, asking for every major manufacturer, can you provide us with millions of more rounds a month? Whatever people can produce, they're buying it. And they go, oh, okay, if you'll deliver this in a year, we want the next year. We want everything you can build. Well, how much do you want? Whatever you can make to dry up the supply. And they're telling us that it doesn't exist and that we're crazy. And we broke that news, and now it's being picked up by Fox News, by the Washington Times, by others, and by WorldNet Daily. And that's what freaks the system out, is that we report something now, people go look up our research, find out it's true. It's fed.biz.gov. I mean, it's all right there, and it's freaking them out because they're not in control of the narrative. Here's Steve's article from a couple days ago. U.S. Senator Big Sis buying ammo to dry up supply, then picked up by WorldNet Daily, then picked up by Fox today. So that is the type of stuff that's happening. And look, I'm just here to report to you that we're able to have an effect now. You're able to have an effect. And that's why it's so essential that you support this platform that's fighting the globalists. Look, if you've got a PrisonPlanet.tv membership for $5.95 a month, that's 11 people can simultaneously log on to that. Give that username and passcode to your friends and family. Tell them to tune in. Tell them to go watch the high-def films, to read the online books, the documentaries, the nightly news, to see the daytime show, to see all our reporters. And the little bit of money we're able to keep after bandwidth, we're able to get more reporters, more computers, more editing software, and be able to have some backup capital in case everything completely implodes. Infowars needs to be stronger. And if you support us and vote with your dollars, we will be. Fortune favors the bold. That's an ancient Latin saying, but adopted by MI6 and the SAS. I personally have adopted it because my fortune I'm after is a future for humanity, a future for my children, a future for good people who freely want to deal with each other and build a better world instead of a bunch of gangs of people who want the guns and want us disarmed. I mean, this is gang psychology out of government. This is gang psychology, the red carpets, the helicopters, the fixed elections, the checkpoints, the government now issuing diplomatic immunity basically to every agency out there, saying there's diplomatic immunity for the police, basically, saying diplomatic immunity for corporations. They don't have this immunity. It's an illusion. Justice demands that they be brought to justice. And the universe will bring them to justice. And we are part of that manifestation of justice. And if you don't believe in God, you need to know something. The psychological studies out there show that praying and believing in God and calling on a higher power does empower you. So even if you don't believe in a physical God or in an energy force in the universe, it's there. And so you need to call on the good. We need to reach for our higher angels, not our lower ones. We need to decide we want to be good. We need to decide what good is, and we need to support it. Because we are at the crossroads of an epic battle for the future of our civilization and our species right now. This is a big deal that's happening right now. And most importantly, we need your prayers here at Infowars. Lastly, because I'm so excited about it, and this is going to probably sell out the fastest of any magazine we've had. I don't say this because it's shameful to be a capitalist and free market and make money. I say it so you know you're getting a really good deal. Also part of capitalism. We're selling this magazine at cost. At cost. And quite frankly, I lose money on this issue putting 3 bumper stickers in it. This costs like 32 cents to have 100-something thousand of these printed a piece. If you punch it up, I'll show people on TV. Right here. This cost, this right here, this insert 32 cents a piece at 110,000 of these printed. So that's 30-something thousand. Then the extra shipping and stuff, it's about $40,000 to have done this. Get them, put them on your car, put them on your own property, get them out to people. Because this, if this is successful and this creates a meme like the French Resistance, we'll start doing this more. My goal is to find out the best ways to spend money to fight the tyrants. We've got, like, let's not exaggerate, 400 entries in the $115,000 Operation Paul Revere contest. I mean, some of this stuff is just dynamite. I'm salivating in resistance. You know, that's what floats my boat. Some people like to hurt innocent people. They get off on that. Some people like to cheat people. They get off on that. Some people like to go water skiing or canoeing, or, you know, that floats their boat. That does mine. You know, fighting tyranny, building a better world, that gets me excited. And I know that gets you excited. So let's kick some globalist butt. If you live in Central Texas especially, these are getting grabbed up quickly at over, what is it, 1,800 locations. We put like 50 or more of these out. These are all over the place in Central Texas. You can order them in bulk in groups of 10 up to 100, or you can subscribe and get it, this issue and the next 12, or give a gift subscription. Great way to wake somebody up. 12 big glossy magazines mailed to their door. It's $59.95 for 12 of them, and that includes the shipping. Most of the cost is the shipping. It'd be like 20 bucks if it wasn't for the shipping. That's 12 times mailed out to you. So a great gift. Subscribe to the magazine. Buy the Pro Pure water filters. Go to the Seed Center. We're launching Operation Johnny Appleseed tomorrow, right, dude? Tomorrow. That'll be exciting. Support us. Support our sponsors. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Weldon's in here. Something exciting going on, bro? I talked to our buddy yesterday. We're going to have to go out to his ranch in a couple weeks. All right, listen. That's it for the news and analysis and rant transmission. Teleprompter free. We're going to come back with a powerful interview conducted about 2 weeks ago when he was being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in California. Professor Griff of Public Enemy. This is a big interview, and I hope you send it out to everybody you know. That's it for the news portion of Infowars Nightly News. Great job, crew.
Up next.
Black boots kicking doors in, man. That's what's to come. That's what's happening right now as we speak. The masses of the people that have voted for Barack Obama was groomed well via MTV, BET, and some of the multinational corporations that influence entertainment, arts, and culture. The people that control the media could probably fit right in this room with snacks, right or wrong. Monsanto's, the World Army, FEMA camps, World Bank, Federal Reserve, those who constructed the Patriot Act, all of them in bed. There's so many wicked things going on in the government that, hell, we can't even tell you. You don't have the card, you don't know the handshake, you don't know the code word. And you need to kind of get used to that. We're doing it. We're putting together the documents. We're putting together the websites and the information. And InfoWarriors are going out spreading the truth.
Professor Griff says Obama is a mass media deception. The Infowars exclusive interview premieres tonight on the Infowars Nightly News.
The important thing about the Pro 1 filter today is that the material we use for removing fluoride and other heavy metals now will remove the latest form of fluoride called hydrofluorosilicic acid. There's no other fluoride reduction filter out there that will remove that type of fluoride. And it's extremely important because today we're hearing more and more cities are using that form of fluoride.
We've been having medication forced on us through the water system for quite a while. Most people don't realize it. Most people don't realize the negative effects of fluoride.
There's a wide range of health effects that are attributed to fluoride.
Bottom line, why should somebody get this new Pro 1 Pro Pure filter?
The reason to buy the Pro 1, it's an all-in-one filter. It's convenient, easy to use. It doesn't require the add-on fluoride filter. And in addition, this filter removes the latest form of fluoride called hydrofluorosilicic acid.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com. Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. Plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the Infowars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro 1 high-performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants. So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
I attempted to, like a lot of black people in America, and a lot of black people that didn't just kind of join the club, so to speak, and just kind of go along with what anything that the Obama administration kind of put out, simply because there was this overall feeling about Obama in the black neighborhood as though he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. And we know that's not true. So whether it's Obamacare, gun control, abortion, the bailouts, or whatever it was pertaining to, a lot of people just went along with it without looking into it. And I think that's the first mistake that we make, simply because we need to look at the agenda as opposed to the individual. There's a beautiful picture that depicts the bird of freedom, the eagle, which represents America, flying high and soaring over all the other lands and governments and systems that are set up. Why do they use the phoenix, or why do they use the eagle? Simply because the eagle flies the highest. That particular science was stolen from ancient Kemet, but nonetheless, the Democrat and Republican Party are two wings of the same damn bird. So when we get into this particular discussion about Democrats wanting this and controlling that, and Republicans not agreeing to this and controlling the House and this kind of thing. We have to understand something, that it's the same people that control both parties. So when we talk about the Hegelian dialectic principle, of course you have the Reds, the Republican Party, and the Blues, which is the Democratic Party, and no one even talks above a whisper when it talks about interjecting and creating a third party which can balance out the two. Both of those particular parties are controlled by the same people. And if you do not understand anything about this particular talk today, understand that. The same people control both parties. And we need to understand that from this point moving forward. So when you talk about false flags, you're talking about them creating incidents, as we've seen recently in Boston, which we can't expound on, which we've seen in London, which we've seen in New York and other places on the globe, where they want you to think that these particular things are going on so they can push a certain bill, or they can take away certain rights from the people. And I think a lot of times these bills are signed based on hype, hysteria, mass hysteria, created and put out there and fostered by the same people that are trying to take the rights away. So when you're talking about an incident going down, we have to look not only at the incident, but what's going on behind the incident, and what bill are they trying to pass, what particular law that they're trying to sign in, and then what rights are at stake that they're taking and continue to take from the American people.
Well, you know something, I think a lot of people have called me and asked me about sovereignty, and the way I understand it, I only kind of answer that question as it relates to the whole 30 to 60 million of us becoming a sovereign country within inside of America, unless some African government is going to cough up some land. You understand what I'm saying? You as an individual becoming sovereign and fighting these people downtown and filing some paperwork with the same people that got you in this situation in the first place is ridiculous. Ask the Native American how many times he filed some paperwork downtown with the treaties that he signed with these people. It ain't gonna happen. If they were already living on land that they owned, right? Then what happened? I thought they were already sovereign. I'm talking about the treaties that the Native Americans, all of the 200 tribes, the treaties that they signed with this government, were they respected?
Of course not.
Okay, then what makes you think yours is going to be respected downtown?
Obama's not setting aside a certain particular set aside for black people in reference to Obamacare. It's going to affect all of us. And some of the same ones with the lip service are the same ones that claim themselves to be good, red-blooded Americans. And this thing is sad. So what I did for you, specifically for you, is I pulled up all of the things that Barack Obama promised that he never kept. And this is not a document coming from Professor Griff. We'll talk about who it comes from in a minute. Did Barack H. Obama deliver on his promises? Broken promise number one, sunlight before signing, which we talked about earlier. When Obama campaigned for the Democratic presidential nomination in Manchester, New Hampshire, on June 22nd, 2007, he announced his sunlight before signing promise. When there is a bill that ends up on my desk as the president, you, the public, will have 5 days to look online and find out what's in it before I sign it, he said. Now, let's look into some of the bills that he has passed. Did you, as red-blooded Americans, get to look at NDAA? Come on, man. I'm laughing inside while I'm saying this because you sound like a hypocritical idiot. You want to come at Professor Griff. All right, you want to blast Alex Jones and other people. You want to confront the info warriors and the infomaniacs. But we know what we talk about because we have documented proof. That's the first promise that he broke. So you talk to me about stop and frisk and what that madness is about. Talk to me about Homeland Security. Talk to me about the TSA and what's going to go down at all of the airports. Talk to me. Anyway, too often bills are rushed through Congress and to the president before the public has the opportunity to review them. As president, Obama will not sign any non-emergency bill without giving the American public an opportunity to review and comment on the White House website for 5 days. What 5 days did I get to look at NDAA? Come on, talk to me. I don't hear nobody talking. But anyway, broken promise number 2, capital gain tax elimination. According to the comprehensive tax plan released during his campaign, Obama promised to eliminate capital gains taxes for small businesses. I have a small business, which is taxed to the hilt. You have small businesses that we can barely keep simply because multinational corporations are given set-asides and tax-free this and tax-free that and loopholes in the way out. Not you, the small businessman. So when we talk about gun control and controlling guns, and then we mention Walmart, and Walmart is brought into the conversations, all of a sudden we have to talk about these set-asides and someone that's there on the Hill representing Walmart. Who was on the Hill talking and speaking for you, the small businessman and woman? Nobody. Broken promise number 3, new American job tax credit. Come on, need I talk about that? I can't afford to be taxed $3,000 a year as a small businessman. I'm the one that needs to set aside in the loopholes. I'm the one that needs someone on the Hill speaking in reference in my behalf. You understand what I'm saying? If a company that currently has 10 U.S. employees increases its domestic full-time employment to 20 employees, this company would get a $3,000 tax credit. Well, I can't afford 20 employees. Obama's promise was never included in the stimulus package. Broken promise number 4, hiatus on the 401k penalties. Many unemployed and financially strapped Americans have considered early withdrawals on 401k and retirement accounts to survive the current recession. You see how you're being squeezed? You're being wrung the out and hung to dry because you're having to tap in to the savings that you've saved all your life and the hard work that you've put in working from sun up to sundown. Can't see morning to can't see evening. You go to work, it's dark. You come home from work, it's dark. You're working to the bone, man. To now having to tap into your 401k and your retirement and your savings just to survive the recession? Come on, man. All of the broken promises, man. I don't want to go out on a date with America and you promising something at the end of the night that you know I'm not going to get. Stroking my ego and stroking a few other things. Are you following me? If you're not going to come across and you're not going to come through, then don't make me the promise. And he's promised a whole lot of things to black America. And I'm telling you, man, go take these damn cameras to the hood and interview the average black person on the street about Barack Obama. And they'll say Barack Obama's made a whole bunch of promises that he's not going to keep. You got some of that yesterday when we was in the car. I was getting unscrupulous phone calls from men and women. And they said they don't buy into the Barack Obama hype. Picture. Don't believe the hype. Anyway, broken promise number 5. No jobs for the lobbyists. All these people that get together and create these lobbies, and they go and they put their monies and their resources and their energy behind a particular candidate and a particular bill. These people have invested interests. But why are they the ones getting the jobs? You don't have the job. The little piece of job that you got to string together, 2 or 3 part-time jobs that you have to work to string together a meager existence in America. Please, man. Please. Where's Barack Obama taking us? Straight to hell. And you're going to be, on the way to hell, you're going to be hungry going there because you don't have enough money in reference to your paycheck to put together enough money to feed your family.
Let me tell you something, there's more black people in America than there are some countries. So what's wrong with us being sovereign? See, we have to take the responsibility of carving out our own destiny. Then and only then, I think, will this government respect us.
Do you remember the Occupy movement? We was preparing food and coming up with a way to put together certain monies so certain businesses can, without naming them, would donate food so we could put together info warriors to go out and infomaniacs to go out to take the food to the Occupy movement. Even though I'm not really 1,000% behind that, you're holding up a placard and you're speaking and yelling at empty buildings, okay, fine. But if that's your way of protest, do your thing. But did I give my efforts behind it to help orchestrate some people to come and take money and get monies and food from businesses that do support you in private, but they can't, you know, do it in public to feed you? Yeah, of course I did. Because I may not be the one on the front line in reference to occupying a certain city, but nonetheless, I applaud your effort. But my point is this: some of the occupiers were out there hungry because they don't have jobs. Hell, occupying 24/7 or an 8-hour shift, they didn't get paid for that. We need to understand this is very, very real. Earmark reform. Hell, we could talk about that all day. Broken promise number 7, bring troops home in 16 months. What month is this? And they're just now talking about bringing them home. Although we're hearing the little rumbling of bags being packed in Afghanistan, nonetheless, you know, the average Latino brother, Native American, the average black brother, the poor white, I don't see them coming home. No time soon. No time soon. However, in February 27, Obama declared, let me say this as plainly as I can, by August 31, 2010, our combat mission in Iraq will end. Thank you. Precisely. See, silence is golden. You understand what I'm saying? As we close, broken promise number 9, $4,000 college credit. Who got that? Tay-Tay, Riri, Man, and Twan and them that's struggling, begging for money for their parents every month, quarterly. They never got that. $4,000 on a card, a debit card, that will run out at the end of $4,000 to a college student is like heaven. You mean to tell me I get a chance to eat today? A college student would be in heaven, man. Obama pledged to make college affordable for all Americans. Isn't that what Muammar Gaddafi did? Free education, free health care. But we don't even get that under the Obama administration. But you murder and assassinate Muammar Gaddafi, who provided that for every citizen in Libya. Barack Obama pledged to make college affordable for all Americans. When announced his American Opportunity Tax Credit, his campaign promise read, the universal and fully refundable credit will ensure that the first $4,000 of a college education is completely free for most Americans, and will cover 2/3 of the cost of tuition for the average public college and university, and make community college tuition completely free for most students. Recipients of the credit will be required to conduct 100 hours of community service. Is that a deal, or is that a shakedown? So as long as you put in 100 community hours of community service, all right, and you're a citizen, and we can check you off on the list, and you meet the requirements, then and only then will you get the $4,000 credit. Broken promise Number 10, transparency. Can I close my iPad on that one? Government is not transparent, man. There's so many wicked things going on in the government that, hell, we can't even tell you. And this is the damn documentary film. So I have in front of me a document by Wayne Madsen, and it talks about the manufacturing of a president, the CIA's insertion of Barack H. Obama Jr. into the White House. From that particular document, I started looking behind this particular document at all the president's men. I looked into the birth certificate. I looked into Barack Obama Sr. I looked into his involvement with being maneuvered and controlled by the CIA. We looked into his mom, the bloodline, the lineage. We could talk about all of that. But we want to talk about all of the president's men. And I want to talk about 3 men that I mentioned in my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop, The Illuminati's Takeover of Hip-Hop. In the 10th chapter, I talked about Common, who was invited to the White House. I talked about Ludacris, who wrote a song for Barack Obama, who was invited to the White House. I talked about Jay-Z, who signed off on gay marriage and endorsed it, who was invited to the White House. I talked about will.i.am, who wrote a song, Yes We Can, who was invited to the White House. And we all know Yes We Can backwards is Thank You Satan. We could talk about a few other people that was invited to the White House. But why is hip-hop in bed with Barack Obama, who is in bed with the global elite, who is in bed with the banksters, who is in bed with the neocons? We have to understand this particular dynamic. So it runs deep. It affects art and culture, entertainment. Although you just think it's an opportunity to be in the White House because it looks good on your discography, you don't even understand what you're doing and who you're aligning yourself with and what agenda that you're carrying out unknowingly. So we talk about the Illuminati takeover of hip-hop, and we talk about Jay-Z. And a lot of people say, well, Jay-Z is the Illuminati. Well, no, he's not. He's carrying out the Luciferian demonic agenda of the Illuminati. And then we say, well, what's Barack Obama's affiliation and association with the Illuminists and the Illuminati? You have to understand something. These same people may control AOL, Yahoo, Google. So we have to look beyond and past a Google search. We have to cross-reference. We have to connect the dots. We have to go out on the streets and get and have conversations with the average person. So let's look at all of the president's men. Those are just a few of them dealing with arts, culture, and entertainment, dealing with the Illuminati. Let's look at a few other ones. Adolfo Nicholas, who was the 30th Superior General, Society of Jesus, which they affectionately call him the Black Pope. No, not the Black Pope, but the Black Pope. Not the one that they come to the Vatican and kiss the ring. The one that's really running things, the Black Pope. Not the one that they parade in front of you. I'm talking about the Black Pope. Go do your research. George Soros, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, member of the Carlyle Group, multi-billionaire, major stockholder in Halliburton, Hungarian ancestry, socialist communist financial backer of Barack H. Obama, friend of Rupert Murdoch. All right? We need to understand these particular people and who they are and what role do they play in installing a president into the White House. Rupert Murdoch, a member of Council on Foreign Relations, a member of the Knights of St. Gregory, international media mogul, owner of Fox News, friend of George Soros. A cult, listen now, here's the line, I don't want this to get past you or by you. An occult protector of Barack Hussein Obama. You didn't hear what I said. The term occult is not that bad. Occult simply means hidden. But when it comes to these people, they speak a language far beyond your comprehension, because they talk in terms of black and white magic. And you use occultic, linguistic kind of terms that you may not be privy to, or you may not understand. For example, George Bush II, Jr., when he spoke for 8 years, you barely understood anything George Bush Jr. said because he stumbled through his words. But the phrases and the phraseology and the way he pronounced certain words, put in certain phrases along with other phrases. It's called doublespeak. The term is called doublespeak. And you can do the research, dig up Stephen Jacobson, Mind Control in America, backwards masking and doublespeak. George Bush Jr. was good at this. So you could be listening to a speech and you could scratch your head at the end of 30 minutes or 90 minutes. You say, what the hell did he talk about? But he got his message over to the people that he was speaking to because he wasn't speaking to you. Joseph R. Biden. Who the is this character? And where do they drag this character out of the woodworks? From Delaware. We don't even go to Delaware. Stop lying. You don't go to Delaware. You go right past Delaware on your way to Philly. Right or wrong. You don't even, there's nothing to stop in Delaware about or for. The credit card companies are there in Delaware, right or wrong. DuPont and some of the other multinational corporations. You don't even stop in Delaware. You don't know one in Delaware. So they drag this character out of Delaware. I never heard of this character. But Joseph R. Biden, a papal knight, Jesuit temporal, these words I can't even pronounce, because he belongs to this elite club, that are controlled by the Jesuits. And we need to understand that this is one of the ones that are sitting next to Barack Obama to make sure Barack Obama carries out the agenda. The damn vice president. The vice president of what? The presidency is a corporation, man. And we need to understand that Barack Obama sits as the president of a corporation, which are controlled by corporations. Joe Biden just sits as vice president of that same corporation. Promoter of the Council on Foreign Relations. His honorary degrees from the Jesuit University of Scranton in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's another ungodly place. You been to Scranton? Thank you. Precisely my point. Precisely my point. You have no clue who the even lives in Scranton. What the do they do there? Anyway, now, this may resonate with hip-hop artists, and I don't know if you can see this. Are they big pimping, or are they just popping collars? So we need to understand these particular dynamics. And who are these people that Barack Obama has to go and kiss the ring and answer to? So when it talks about issues that affect the American people, I don't care if it's preparedness, I don't care if it's stocking up food, Barack Obama is controlled, bought, and paid for. So when you talk about gun control, the question here is it about guns or is it about control? We need to understand that. So those are some of the president's men. Now, if we could just kind of have a fireside chat about some other things, we can kind of dive into some of these things that Barack Obama has to say and do to keep the agenda and the machine fueled, well-oiled. And we need to understand it because we already talked about the media. We talked about the corporations. We talked about all the president's men. We talked about Barack Obama's agenda and his influence dealing with hip-hop artists to deal with arts and culture. Because I'm telling you, the masses of the people that have voted for Barack Obama was groomed well via MTV, BET, and some of the multinational corporations that influence entertainment, arts, and culture. And don't you ever damn think that MTV, VH1, and All of the other alphabet boys are not in cahoots and in bed with Barack Obama and those that control the media that carry out the agenda. That's how they carry out the agenda. From unsuspecting masses of the people who carry out the agenda unknowingly. We need to understand that.
I know half a dozen people right now languishing in prison behind this sovereignty stuff. A friend of mine told me yesterday while we was walking, he said it's probably some dudes up in prison with a whole bunch of time on their hands figuring out this paperwork.
How do we climb out of this proverbial bag that we're in? Together. One mind, one spirit, one voice, one agenda, and if everyone is saying the exact same thing, they have no other choice. If Alex Jones is saying the same thing Professor Griff from Public Enemy is saying, you guys are saying the same thing, rappers are saying the same thing, politicians who are not afraid, who stand up and speak for what they truly believe in. If you truly believe in the Second Amendment, then they have no other choice but to say, you know something, we have to sit and listen. And then we have to have someone in those offices, in the political arenas, that can actually speak for the masses of the people, both black and white and every color in between. Do we have that? No, the sellout cowards that are there as politicians up on the Hill and in the White House, that they won't utter a word to speak for the masses of the people. So then I ask the question to you, what the is democracy about? I posed a question on the internet. Does democracy work? And if it does, show me on what part of the planet it works. If democracy works, then why does America kill our leaders? So the whole idea of this war on terrorism is spreading democracy. Out of here. People in Libya don't want democracy. Unless the media, multi-ethnic destruction in America, forces it on the people. And they want to convince you to believe that you want democracy in Libya. I'm trying to state some obvious facts that those that are watching this particular DVD, be it on YouTube, on smart ass phones, for dumb we're going to put it out there and just make it very transparent, very clear, very plain, not to insult your intelligence, very elementary. And if you have a problem with the black on my face, then just mute, put a cover over the screen, and just turn the volume up so you can hear what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with it, so I'm sure you shouldn't. Truth is truth regardless. Are you following me? Can you imagine all of us in this room get caught in the spider web and I'm the only one that the spider chooses to eat? No, we all in this together. You understand what I'm saying? One of Wesley Snipes' movie, I forget which one it was, one of the characters said, you know, CMB, the Cash Money Brothers, we all we got. So y'all better get used to the idea. We're going to have to lock arms and get in sync with those of us that just don't necessarily look like us. Get used to it. The war is on, man. You understand what I'm saying? So when I turn to a brother of mine like Alex Jones, without looking back, if I say, look, bro, pass the ammo, then pass the ammo. And you can't deny the fact that Alex Jones at Infowars.com, Prison Planet, or whatever entity it is, did he not pass the ammo? Yes, look at what we have here. Corporatism, a system of control designed by the monopoly men of the global elite. Now, this wasn't written by Professor Griff. And it talks about 47 million Americans are now on food stamps in the middle class. It talks about how China is creating these particular robots that are taking over the jobs, not in China, in America. So when we go into false flags, and as we talked about earlier, we talk about the United States, the U.S., and there's a difference between the U.S. and the USA. Google U.S. versus the USA, and you call me and tell me what you come up with. Anyway, This document here says U.S. and Al-Qaeda, which we know Al-Qaeda was something manufactured and made up by the CIA as the boogeyman. And there's always has to be a boogeyman. With every president that sits in the seat, there always has to be a boogeyman that they're fighting. Well, we need to figure out who's the boogeyman for Barack H. Obama. This says the best frenemies. Al-Qaeda was created by the CIA. And it's a 20-page document, and it goes into how Barack Obama was groomed by the CIA to do exactly what he's doing. Now, if you see and you look real close, we're going to talk about the media in a minute. If you look real close at what George Bush Jr. set in motion in Eurasia and other places that Zbigniew Brzezinski talked about in his book, you don't see a dime worth a damn difference what George Bush Jr. said in the 8 years of him stumbling through his pregnancy in the White House. You don't see a damn bit of difference than what Barack Obama is doing today. As a matter of fact, it's worse what Barack Obama is doing. Simply because some of those things that Barack Obama should have came into office and eradicated, and undid what George Bush Jr. set in motion, what Barack Obama has done. I heard Dick Gregory say that if you see some of the tricks that the CIA are pulling across the global landscape, shit, that to make Hitler blush. It's ridiculous. The mass murders that are going on to establish democracy in these places, and then when it comes to the media, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about those sincere, real, hardworking photojournalists and journalists like you guys that are out there getting the real story and the story that's behind the scenes. But we rarely hear from you guys on a global scale, on a sound bite that's put on repeat on CNN every 10 minutes, that's playing through the earphones and on people's airport and on people's phones. We rarely get that. We have to create websites, mirror websites, send out information through the phones and through phone apps and this kind of thing to directly reach the people. Gun control. We have to talk about the amendments. Now, just once again, I'm not playing the race card. When we talk about the Constitution or Constitution of the United States of America, you have to understand it means something different to white Europeans as it means to black people. The reason why we call ourselves public enemy. It's the whole idea of black people being written in as 3/5 of a human being. Now, what kind of bullshit is that? I mean, the tape is rolling, but we're just speaking, having a fireside chat right now. How in the hell can I respect the Constitution that wrote me in as subhuman? So then when we go look at the Constitution, we can honestly say that a pig, man, an animal is whole pig, 5/5 pig. A snake, a gerbil, a damn fly is a whole fly, a whole cow, a whole pig, 5/5. But when it comes to black people that gave birth to everyone on the planet, and we can debate that, you write black people in as 3/5 of a human being, and then you want to try to amend it as though that's cool? That's like doing a Puffy remix on the Constitution. Out of here. I'm not buying into it. So when we talk about rights, black people have no rights in America because we're not human. We're subhuman. So then when we stand up and speak to these particular things, we're speaking from a different perspective than white people. And we need to understand it. But the beautiful thing I like about what's going on, especially with what Alex Jones is doing, is the fact that all of us are in the same boat. So get used to it, white people. You got to start living like black people have been living. And I'm laughing about it simply because now the gender and the race lines have been blurred now to the point where we're forced to work together. Now you're forced to see it how we see it, and we're forced to see it how you see it. Now what we're going to do? Be ignorant and keep arguing over the race card and the race issue? No. We have to come together on some real issues that affect us all, regardless of your complexion. We have to understand it and understand it from black people, my perspective, and a heartfelt black point of reference. Because if I say I support the Second Amendment, then we move on to the third, fourth, fifth, then it becomes a problem. Because my is going to get caught in a web that wasn't designed for me to get the out of. Okay, let's just be honest and let's talk. After all of it's said and done, we're sovereign, we're over the hill, we don't have to look back, that door's closed. Can I actually hook up with other people that's not my complexion, and we could put something in place where all of us are sovereign and we can have arms and enjoy the rights and the freedoms that everyone else on the planet enjoys? You right, who wouldn't want that? As a human, I would want that. Plain and simple. But we don't have that today in America, now do we? No. Listen, law is only as good as the people enforcing the law. Am I correct? So that if they're not going to support, protect, defend, honor, uphold the very same law that they put in place, what good is it? George Bush Sr. and Jr. on the Constitution. Am I right or wrong? And there was only a handful of people that spoke up. And the majority of them sold the out and took the payoff. Plain and simple. And then the ones that did speak up, the brave white people that did speak up to speak to other white people, because I can't speak to the vast majority of white people. I can't do my songs through the Public Enemy medium of hip-hop and music, and a lot of young white people get it. But these old who refuse to give up the whole idea of having black people be inclusive and share the benefit of what the Second Amendment has to offer, out of here. It ain't gonna happen. This is hidden histories of all the president's guns. April 1963, President and General Chester V. Clifton inspect M16 assault weapon. But then it goes down, I'm skipping down now. There's a picture here of President John F. Kennedy, April of 1960. It says, by calling attention to a well-regulated militia, the security of the nation, and the right of each citizen to keep and bear arms, our founding fathers recognized the essentially civilian nature of our economy. Although it is extremely unlikely that the fears of the governmental tyranny which gave rise to the Second Amendment will ever be a major danger in our nation, go figure, right? The amendment still remains an important declaration of our basic civilian military relationships in which every citizen must be ready to participate in the defense of his country. For that reason, I believe that the Second Amendment will always be important. That's John F. Kennedy, April 1960. How important is that particular quote in 2013 as we sit here and as we speak today? Every citizen, wait a minute, that includes all the illegal aliens that you claim are illegal in America, all right? That you, at the stroke of a pen, that Barack Obama can make all these people legal? Are you talking about the disenfranchised segments of the black community that who are under this three-strike law have no rights anymore? Are you talking about convicted felons who have no voice? Who are you talking about that every citizen? Who do you consider a citizen? There's rights being taken away right now as we speak. And according to the particular laws that they're passing, you have no voice because they don't consider you a citizen. We need to understand it. So when you're looking at the hidden histories of all presidents and their guns, just for example, this gold-plated AR-15 presented to President Kennedy by the Colt Firearms back in the day. This is an actual gold-plated, this is a gold-plated gun that was presented to President Kennedy. Down here, there was a gold-plated, from the Colt factory, a gold-plated handgun that was presented to Wilson at the particular time. So you mean to tell me that the gun manufacturers are not in bed with some of these people in the White House? Come on, we can go through a history of people owning guns. Here's Elvis presenting Nixon with a gun. But this is not the important thing. We need to talk about the guns that are on the street, that was put on the street when you go through operations like Operation Garden Plot. When you talk about the CIA covert operation in Black America, just in America, period. We can do a history of CIA covert operations in America. And how many guns are on the street and been put on the street by the government herself. And then we can take account of that, and then we can say to ourselves, okay, well, who the hell put the guns on the street in the first place? So when you talk about the Second Amendment and who actually has rights, let me tell you something. There's people that own guns right now that will never have rights in America. But they're using them every single day. And I swear, and y'all just chime in on this, you mean to tell me we looked at what happened in Boston for the last week? They admitted several times, and I don't know if you guys were listening, but they went door to door, black boots kicking doors in, man. That's what's to come. That's what's happening right now as we speak. They're going to kick your door in like they're going to kick mine in. The people that control the media could probably fit right in this room with snacks, right or wrong. You're not talking about, you talk about gigantic corporations, but you're talking about a handful of people that control everything that we see, everything that we hear, everything that we touch. And I don't care if it's a movie that comes out, a magazine, a trend, they control it all. You probably have 0.1% of information that gets out through brave souls and individuals that control their own websites and news sources, and can extract information and news from around the globe that can effectively reach the masses, not the masses, but those select few of the people that want to hear it. It never reaches the masses. But let's look at it like this here. The information that some of the brave souls that are out there that are reaching the people, it's growing. Look at it like this. We're here, and if it wasn't for the Alex Joneses of the world and the info warriors and the infomaniacs of the world, we wouldn't be sitting in the same room, man. Because we have something way beyond the complexion of our skin. We have like-mindedness, and we're coming together on an agenda that we understand that will not only affect your children's children, but will affect mine. That's what brings me here today to talk about these very critical issues, simply because I cannot, as a man, a responsible man, sit here and say that I'm good, it's cool and fine with me, that, and then I agree and go along with everything that's going on in the government. No, I have to use the Public Enemy platform, but I have to use hip-hop and the platform that I've been allowed to use to raise my voice to speak against these particular ills that will affect not only my children, but yours. Plain and simple. And the sad part about it, I don't even know your children. But we're like-minded, and I feel your pain. But I'm speaking out about it, and so should you, wherever you're sitting watching this. But we are not going to allow you to play armchair revolutionary and sit in your living room in the comforts of your own home in front of your 60-inch screen TVs and think that everything's going to be all right while your ass is ordering pizza. It's not going to be all right until you raise your voice and speak against the madness that's going on in the government. We're doing it. We're putting together the documents. We're putting together the websites and the information. And InfoWarriors are going out spreading the truth, regardless whether it's on the front line, on and off the internet, on and offline, sitting back, pretending like it's somebody else's duty and responsibility to take care of us. We had a conversation yesterday when I was listening to you guys talk about the whole idea of food. And we all know that they're going to use food as a weapon because they're already using food as a weapon. So for those Americans that are sitting back watching this, thinking that you're going to leave it up to somebody else to take care of your basic needs, you better think twice. The government has no intentions on looking out for the masses of people, black, brown, red, yellow, or white, plain and simple. It's a handful of people that's going to look out for the handful of people. And guess what? You ain't part of the club, man. I think, didn't George Carlin say that? You're not part of the club, plain and simple. You don't have the card. You don't know the handshake. You don't know the code word. And you need to kind of get used to that. Some of you flunkies are in some of these organizations thinking that because you are allowed to sit next to a couple of Congress people and some politicians up at a $100 a plate dinner, you think you're in. You're not in. They're not even going to allow you to clean the floor after the dinner. And you need to understand that. And I'm especially talking to some of these Negroes that are out there that think that everything's just going to be all right. The government is going to take care of feeding your children. What's the estimate of how many people are on welfare now? 47 million? Close to 50 million. That's a lot of people to feed. There's a lot of people to feed, especially when there's 196,940,000 square miles of the planet. Everyone can eat well, but it's not about that. It's the haves, the have-nots, and they're gonna hire mercenaries like Blackwater and other militia and organizations to come in and do their dirty work. You know why? Because they don't want their hands dripping with blood. So we have to understand these particular dynamics, man. And excuse me for speaking this way, but this is just what it is. This is just what it is, man. You're not hearing the ranting of an angry black man. If you resonate with what I'm saying, hell, these documents weren't written by Professor Griff or Chuck D in Public Enemy. These are documents written by concerned white people. Do you understand what I'm saying? That are the voice of the voiceless. But we have a voice today. Not doing a commercial for Alex Jones or his crew, but we have voices today that are not afraid to speak up and speak out. Bob Marley said, stand up for your rights. Because these people that you have voted in to office are not going to speak up for you. So, 15 deadly corporations. Should we mention them? But these are the ones that put millions, if not billions of dollars into a campaign. And then, after we talk about these 15 corporations, let's truly pull the cover off some of these people that installed Barack H. Obama into the White House. Can we do that for a minute? The 15 deadliest corporations. These corporations, if they were individual human beings, would be locked up for life. Instead, they continue ranking in the big bucks. Human rights abuses, murder, war, eco disasters, and animal exploitation keep these evil companies ranking in the green. Right now, we just want to do a disclaimer. For the elderly that are watching this, you might want to just excuse yourself. Those young people that are watching this, you might want to get a barf bag, all right, so that in case you might throw up, because some of these corporations you support every single day. Number one, and not in any particular order, number one is Chevron. Several big oil companies make this list, but Chevron deserves a special place in hell. Between 1972 and 1993, Chevron, then Texaco, discharged 18 billion gallons of toxic water into the rainforest. Did you hear what I said? 18 billion. That's Chevron. You go get the document and read it for yourself. We don't have time to go in depth into the particular document. Second company which sends chills up my spine, because this is one of the reasons why they wanted to shut Professor Griff down. This is one of the reasons I got poisoned. This is one of the reasons I got shot at. This is one of the reasons why I got ejected out of Public Enemy back in the day. Second company is De Beers. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. I think it's not, unless she lives in the Ivory Coast. Blood or conflict diamonds are the name given to minerals purchased from insurgencies in war-torn countries. Prior to 2000, when the UN finally took a standard against practices and the practice of De Beers was knowingly funding violent guerrilla movements. We have to understand this particular dynamic. With its diamond purchases in Botswana, De Beers has been blamed for clearing of land to be mined for diamonds, all right, including the forcible removal of indigenous peoples throughout these particular lands. That's company number two. We're not going to cover them all. Tyson Food Company. Shameful animal abuses by Tyson Food Company. Smith & Wesson. Not the rap group Smith & Wesson, but the gun company Smith & Wesson. Now let me ask y'all something at this point. Do you own a gun? Do you own a Smith & Wesson? So we have to understand who we're supporting, all right, and who we're aligning ourselves with unknowingly. Smith & Wesson, at the largest manufacturer of handguns and submachine guns in the U.S., Smith & Wesson is indirectly responsible for unaccountable shooting deaths. We don't need to mention all of the deaths. But my thing is, we're not saying shut Smith & Wesson down. We're just saying when the table of accountability is prepared, call Smith & Wesson. You got Smith & Wesson's phone number? No. We're going to call Smith & Wesson to be accountable. All right, but listen, because we can't begin to have the conversation without having Smith & Wesson at the table. And then bring some free guns while you add a Smith & Wesson. I need a new one. Because I'm not waiting for the government to defend me. Philip Morris. Need we have that conversation? Philip Morris is the largest manufacturer of cigarettes in the United States. Cigarettes are known to cause cancer in smokers, and as well as birth defects in unborn children if the mother smokes while pregnant. Cigarette smoke contains 43 known carcinogens and over 4,000 chemicals. Need we go on? Philip Morris. We talk about the 15 deadliest corporations, and then we're going to sum it up with how many of these corporations are in bed with Barack Obama. Wait, don't get scared and change the channel. Don't get afraid and turn it off and eject the DVD. Don't go to another YouTube station or YouTube channel. Just sit tight. 6, Halliburton. Any corporation that has Dick Cheney as a CEO has got to be evil. All right? That's Halliburton. Coca-Cola, who have admitted recently in undocumented documents, have stated that they're still using cocaine in their formula to make Coca-Cola products. Stop it. Your ass is hooked. As a matter of fact, right now, your ass is probably sipping a Coke right now. Tell me I'm lying. No, don't try to hide it. Some of us can't go to a day without having a Coke and a smile. Anyway, number 8. Did I say Pfizer was number 8? Let me tell you something. Just the whole pharmaceutical companies, lock, stock, and barrel, the whole barrel of them. We're going to have to invite them when we prepare the table of accountability. Because the amount of drugs, what was the name of that movie that went out about the pharmaceutical companies in Africa? The Constant Gardener. Very well, very good movie, which talks about the pharmaceutical companies and the fact that when they don't use those particular drugs that are passed by the FDA, which are controlled by these people. Monsanto's controls the FDA. Monsanto's have bent the FDA over the desk and doing the FDA. Are you following me? So we can't rely on their regulations to control what goes into the to the system and into the discussion of what goes into the food in America. Those 5 or 6 companies that Barack Obama is in bed with, the pharmaceutical companies are there at the head of the table. Monsanto's, the World Army, FEMA camps, World Bank, Federal Reserve, those who constructed the Patriot Act, all of them in bed. 9, ExxonMobil. And as Michael Tessarian and Jordan Maxwell and Alex Jones have pointed out, when you talk about the double X, which is very befitting right now because y'all has been double crossed. The cross is a Rosicrucian cross. And it's befitting because y'all has been double crossed right now that we're mentioning ExxonMobil. When you talk about the pipeline that's going to come from Tajikistan and Uzbekistan coming through down into India and other places, you have to recognize the fact that Zbigniew Brzezinski's talked about this. These multinational corporations are laying this pipeline. You have to look at Exxon Mobil. Caterpillar's a company. We won't talk about that right now. Ringling Brothers, when it talks about animal abuse. Monsanto's, which was one of my favorites to talk about. As I said a few minutes ago, the FDA is controlled by Monsanto's. When you talk about the Terminator seed and you're talking about using food as a weapon, Monsanto's name has to come up. And we have to call Monsanto's to account for all the abuses. We have to bring them to the table of accountability. Just a few more. This one shocked me because I was a candy bar eating young man when I was growing up. When you talk about Nestle's, and we talk about these companies giving millions and millions of dollars to back not only Barack, but these other candidates, because they want to put together an agenda, all right? They're trying to push an agenda. These next couple may blow your mind. British Petroleum, BP. You know what BP stands for. Not British Petroleum, but Big Pimpin'. The hell can you accidentally dump millions and millions of gallons of oil and throwing off the eco balance of the planet, man? Not just America, but the planet. The people in foreign countries are tasting that oil that was spilled. So BP not only stands for British Petroleum, but Big Pimpin'. Definitely British Petroleum is on the list. Last but not least, buckle your seatbelt, Dynacorp. When you're talking about selecting a president of the United States of America, Dynacorp is probably at the head. When you do the research on Dynacorp, hell, man, you might as well go to bed. Dynacorp International. This privatized military company is often hired by the United States government to protect American interests overseas so that the government can claim no responsibility for Dynacorp's action. Now, we need to look at the brutality of Dynacorp International, all right? And we need to hold Dynacorp accountable. And this is critical because I believe it was in the book by, please correct me if I'm wrong, Diary of an Economic Hitman. And it's very critical that who are these companies that go in prior to it hitting the news in America? Who are these companies that go in to destabilize countries and buy off leaders and install leaders and put them in place? Working along with the CIA, Dynacorp International. Welcome to the club, ladies and gentlemen. This is a dirty business, but someone has to tell the story. Let me tell you something. You may not like Alex Jones. You may not like some of the things that Alex Jones puts on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. You may not like some of the DVDs, In-Game and some of the other DVDs. You may not like some of the information. Hell, you might not even like the way Alex Jones combs his hair. But you gotta respect the man for the information that he's putting out. Plain and simple, because it speaks truth to power. And if you're that kind of coward and that kind of individual that cannot at least say, you know something? The man is sticking to what he believes and sticking to the information. All right? We have to respect the fact that the man is holding true to speaking truth to power. All right? Let's understand that. 15 deadliest corporations, hidden histories of guns and presidents. Not only that, the USA created, Al-Qaeda created by the CIA, and corporatism. Corporatism, a system of control designed by the monopoly of men that call themselves the global elite. Wake up, America. Stop being sheeple. All right? Stop falling for the machinations and that they sell us because it has a cute little tune to it and funny-looking colors with dancing girls. Or with an idiot-ass rapper and a hip-hop song and a rap song attached to it. Stop falling for these particular tricks coming from the Obama administration. Be well-informed Americans. Be well-informed individuals. Know and understand and look at every bill and every law that is passed. Because if you don't, you could be quietly signing on to something and signing something into law that will affect not only you, but your children's children's children. This is Professor Griff. I'm the Minister of Information, public enemy. And now that we've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's best that we use that platform and use music as a gift that we've been given to speak truth to power. Music is a universal language. And if we don't use this particular platform to speak truth to power, then what good is the award? Are you following me? Thank you all very much for listening to me. As I always say, revolution is not an event, it's a process. I'm one of those info warriors. I'm one of those infomaniacs. All right? So fine-tuned and raise the vibrational pitch of your thinking, and let's stay in sync with one another. Like minds, like mine. I'm going to say that again. Souls that can spark other souls that are like mine, like mine. Peace. This is Professor Griff. I'm out.